October 3rd, early voting starts in Ohio, the all-important battleground state of Ohio. And, of course, Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump are both heading there on this Labor Day. Right now, if you look at some of the polls, though, nationally, Trump is now closing in with just 63 days left, if you can believe it.
Yeah, let's take a look at the Real Clear Politics average, because Clinton is at 46%, Donald Trump at 42.1%. So she's starting to lose that convention bump that she had gotten from the DNC in Philly. And Donald Trump seems to be acting more and more presidential.
That's right. I mean, a month ago, those numbers were roughly 48-40, so it was an 8-point spread. Now you're looking at 4. There's even an LA Times poll that came out just 2 days ago that showed Donald Trump up 3. So he's clearly closing the gap. She's probably ahead by a little bit, but no doubt this is what the Trump campaign said they wanted to do. By Labor Day, have the polls tightening so it's open race. You know, the last couple of weeks, Hillary Clinton's been talking a lot about her emails and the foundation. Otherwise, Donald Trump's been talking a lot about immigration. So leading some folks to wonder, well, is his rhetoric sticking?
Is his rhetoric sticking? And there seems to be some back and forth this morning. If you watched Rudy Giuliani right after he got off of our couch yesterday, he headed over and talked to Jake Tapper. And what he said to Jake Tapper seemed to be a contradiction of what the Trump campaign had been saying all along, which is these mass deportations, getting rid of 11 million illegal immigrants in this country. And Rudy Giuliani said, no. He shifted his position. He's now saying that he only wants people who have criminality tied to their record would be moved out. But the campaign seems to be on a different message. If you listen to Kellyanne Conway yesterday, she had this to say, which was in contrast to what Rudy Giuliani was saying. Listen.
He'll manage it the way it should have been managed all along, by enforcing the law and relying upon those law enforcement officers and those ICE officers to do their job. They've been completely hamstrung in their ability to do their job. He also has said that he will triple the number of ICE agents to try to help. And if you look at everything that he said in that 10-point immigration plan, Martha, it goes beyond that. It also talks about the E-Verify program. It talks about stopping this jobs and benefits magnet. It also talks about securing the southern border, building that wall, and having Mexico pay for it. But at least you have a presidential candidate putting forth a 10-point plan and having it covered by the media.
But you're right. The details are fuzzy on exactly what they will do with these illegal immigrants who are already here, 11 million, that arbitrary number, starting with criminal illegal immigrants, as Donald Trump says. But then what do you do after that? They're saying, well, maybe we'll just wait and see after we try to, shore up the border.
And Rudy's saying yesterday, look, he's not going to want to break up families. But that's in contrast to what he said previously. So there seems to be some contradiction.
Yes and no. I mean, details are fuzzy, indeed. However, the contours are clear. I mean, you've got a wall. You've got no sanctuary cities, you've got more focus on agents and deportations, and with Hillary Clinton you've got open borders and sanctuary cities and more refugees and a pathway to citizenship. I mean, so I think some of the details that we squabble over because we see the minor changes, most people are looking at it saying, hey, here's a coherent, here's one way of looking at the world, and here's another.
But is that position good? Will he be able to bring in some more of those independent voters if he softens his position, similar to the way Bill Clinton did this? Take a look back. We pulled out some archive tape, because what you're hearing from what Rudy Giuliani said yesterday looks almost exactly like what Bill Clinton said in 1995 in his State of the Union address. Listen.
All Americans, not only in the states most heavily affected, but in every place in this country, are rightly disturbed by the large numbers of illegal aliens entering our country. The jobs they hold might otherwise be held by citizens or legal immigrants. The public service they use impose burdens on our taxpayers. That's why our administration has moved aggressively to secure our borders more, by hiring a record number of new border guards, by deporting twice as many criminal aliens as ever before, by cracking down on illegal hiring, by barring welfare benefits to illegal aliens.
So that's where it was then, and look, it's spun out of control now. I mean, the borders are like Swiss cheese, as Donald Trump likes to say. But what was different is the reception. When Bill Clinton was saying this in the State of the Union address, there was applause, and the reception was great. Donald Trump, on the other hand, is seen as a racist and a bigot for the comments that he made, particularly in his opening speech.
Exactly. That's Donald Trump before there was Donald Trump. I mean, that is effectively almost exactly to a T what Donald Trump's position has been. And listen to the words: criminals, illegal aliens, deportations. I mean, and he goes on to talk about we are a country of immigrants, but we are also a country of laws, which is exactly what you've heard from Donald Trump. So it's that the left's position has moved, not that Donald Trump has become extreme.
Well, and the left jumped all over him for saying that, does that include, you're going to deport 11 million? That includes dreamers. That includes, children born to families here. And that's where this weird softening seems to be occurring over the past few days, and whether or not he's actually just just going to look at those who have criminal records only as a deportation. So, I don't know. I'd love to hear from our viewers this morning. Do you think that this is what has moved the needle for Donald
That's the
Trump?
interesting question. Do you think this moves independence? I mean, that's the important point on this.
Because I think the immigration vote, he's already got those people. That's why when he was spending all this time in Arizona, I think he already has those people in the bag for the Trump campaign. It's Hillary
Well, he's
Clinton,
in a battleground state today, so he's getting back on message, and so goes Ohio, so goes the nation. So that's
where
what
is
he's trying to
Hillary
do.
Clinton?
Well, she's reappearing today in Ohio, but she has been almost nowhere to be found on the campaign trail.
Right, and we crossed 275 days since she's actually held a press conference.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know if Tim Kaine yesterday actually maybe slipped a little bit and maybe put the cart before the horse on this, but he was asked about where is Hillary Clinton, and he said this, listen.
Martha, she's had hundreds of interviews in the last year.
So we can expect a press conference, yes or no?
There's been one in the last month, and you're going to see Hillary very, very accessible to the press, as I will be between now and November 8th.
Are you talking about that press conference
Yes.
where the journalist students were practically throwing roses on the stage and giving her softball questions?
Yes,
and
he
hugs?
was talking about that press conference.
Yeah.
No.
I don't know. I just don't think to me, it's a smart strategy for her. I don't think she hates the press. When she has to answer tough questions, she tries to get away from the reporters. Her campaign keeps reporters at an arm's distance or far away from her.
Or roped off.
There's no upside for her talking to the press.
That's true, but to use a sports analogy, when your team goes into the four corners, offense or in the prevent defense, you might be ahead, but that's when the other team also can make a comeback and start picking you apart. So it's not clear that sitting on a small lead is a smart strategy with 60 days to go if the other person can set the agenda.
Yeah.
Rudy Giuliani said it's death by 1,000 cuts, that she might be sitting back watching this and getting cut back and forth. So, well, more on that this morning.
But right now we're going to